minimal damage, and they still maintain their mid-tier 1.
Right now, staunching the bleeding is the goal. Homeboys still have pretty good late game scaling. They just gotta make sure they don't lose out too much more at this stage of the game. A 4K net worth difference is not ideal, but still not in a situation that can be considered dire for the Homeboys.
It's still salvageable, and I can agree with that. For now, I think Homeboys, they're just going to take it slow. Anip is still going to need a little bit more time until he gets his Demon Hunter sword, and until then, I don't think Homeboys are going to participate in too many fights.
Yeah, we can see that Sasa already has 3 items there. Having Mystery Shop making a big difference. Calamity Reaper, Feather of Heaven, Holy Crystal, all completed on his side. I noticed as well, Smooth actually going for full damage. That is Blade of Heptases, Hunter Strike, Malefic Roar. He knows his job here, and that is the target, the backline. No need for tankiness. If he loses his life in exchange for 2, that's more than enough.
I mean, he knows that Subot wants to be way up front. Same goes for Barbosa to set things up. Same goes for Chibi. But it's going to be up to just Anip and as well as Warlord to hold the back line, and instantly Subot comes in with the King's Call, and Feathered Airstrike has a quick response. Chibi is outside as the real war manipulation is helpful, but Balance too deep in. Smooth ends up dying as well. No tankiness to keep him alive. So much commitment by Team SMG, but they find nothing.
Beautifully done by the Homeboys. Team SMG has to recognize that even though they have a solid game plan, the way that these lineups interact is very fragile. It's very specifically necessary for Team SMG to be ones engaging and controlling the angles of engagement. When Homeboys forced that there, you can see how Balance was completely split off. Smooth tried to do his job, but because no one got picked off, they couldn't funnel Homeboys into a disadvantageous position. All of them just wailed on him and didn't allow for Team SMG to make any backup.
Exactly, and that's the thing, right? Homeboys are very good at isolating their targets, especially when the King's calling into the zone, just like the real war manipulation. Oh no, Balance once again. Oh wait, hold on, he actually survives this time, but the Feathered Airstrike has been committed and canceled by the Guardian's Barrier. Now, they're going to start bursting it down. Real war manipulation has been popped, and Smooth is waiting. Examine Force has been dropped, and the King's calling keeps him in place. He can't get out, and Warlord is able to secure the kill. They're on the run with no members left. 3 against 5. Homeboys will take this Lord.
This is now starting to become a problem for Team SMG. Homeboys recognize as long as they group up together properly and make sure that Anip and Warlord are not stacking atop one another, it's very difficult for SMG to find angles of initiation. And losing Balance and then Sasa means that there's no way for SMG to continue that fight. Luminous Lord falls into the hands of the Homeboys, and a situation where Homeboys can siege the base of Team SMG. Defense is very difficult.
Extremely tough heroes on the side of Homeboys. It started to become evident that Team SMG can't scale in time. Feathered Airstrike being committed as the real war manipulation zones out the rest. The inhibitor will fall, but Balance has a nasty flank right now. If only he could do something about it. Team SMG waiting for him to get his charge. Here we go. He gets on top of Warlord, but it's unfortunate. Bouncing ball not going to do much. Smooth is too far away, and Anip chunks them out. The attempt has failed. Balance ends up dying. The King's Call and locks down Sasa as he walks just out of it, losing 2 inhibitors as a response.
A good attempt there from Team SMG, but they're not quite split up enough. And even though Homeboys should be in a position where Team SMG can ideally take a fight, they're too scattered. They have to defend the base. They're not able to follow up on one another's tempo. Communication starting to break down just a little bit as some of the members of Team SMG are desperate to make something happen, but the rest are not quite able to continue on with the shot calling due to the fact that Subot can just drop down the King's Calling and completely cut them off.
Yeah, it's just slowing down and staggering their engagements, and as much as Valens are slowly and surely somehow finding these flanks, it's not being capitalized upon. And now Homeboys once again, it's going to be real moment of manipulation and Feathered Airstrike. Guardian's Bear instantly canceling, and out there chunked. They are hurt. They are forced to retreat, and Smooth tries to let the final blow away from the fight and finally gets out of there with just a sliver of health.
With just a couple of plays, Homeboys have taken full control of the game. They now recognize that as long as they don't allow Team SMG to control the angles of approach, there is literally no way they can execute the backline. And if they're not able to do that, then Homeboys can just outlast them in terms of damage. Even Chibi, due to the fact that he's been ignored the entire time, is now able to drop down the squishier members of Team SMG with the Appraiser's Wrath. Things have become incredibly difficult.
It really is. If we look at, I'm pretty sure, yep, the Phoenix Shields all across the board for the Homeboys, pulling up the items, and even a necklace of Durant's coming out from Warlord's side. I guess they wanted to, even though they got 2 Dominance Ices.
Wow, that is very interesting right there. I guess it's going to be very effective here against Sasa now, having built up that concentrated energy. A lot of its effectiveness going to be halved, and now the issue we talked about during the draft is coming to bear here with the Harif and the Varsa being the main sources of DPS. Athena's shield just negates so much of their DPS potential, and if Smooth isn't able to execute the backline, then Homeboys just outlast it.
Yep, real wall manipulation coming out from Warlord to zone off the rest of balance in the middle of that fight. Can't get in. Feathered airstrike being committed, and Homeboys take an easy Luminous Lord. This might just be it for Team SMG.
No inhibitors in their base. They do have Farsa, but otherwise they don't have the heroes that can mount the high ground defense, meaning that all Homeboys has to do is make sure they don't make a mistake, and this will be a very easy crystal rush here. Oh, we'll see whether or not Team SMG can defend.
Smooth has staggered the bottom wave, and we are seeing that Grok is purposefully waiting and locking off the mid lane just so that they sink the waves at the same time. Warlord, he's really low. GB walks off front, sees Subway. It's going to be the Electro final blow coming out for Smooth, but here comes the real one manipulation as a response. The King's calling has been dropped with the Spear of Glory, already doing God's work. Valence tries an opportunity on Onif. It doesn't go through. Onif is on the crystal right now. Nobody is stopping him. Anybody stop him, and that is going to be game number 1. No excitement, just cold faces from these cold-blooded killers known as Homeboys.
We have just witnessed